afternoon, sir. I'm from CPS, and I'm here because I got a complaint about your children's safety. Can I come in to talk with you?
Stop! This is exactly how innocent parents get arrested. When it comes to cops knocking on the door, you know the rule. Don't answer the door. But what about Child Protective Services? In this video, you'll learn how to protect your family, your rights, and to avoid the #1 mistake that can turn a misunderstanding into a criminal case. Since I'm a lawyer, I have to give a disclaimer that none of this is legal advice for your individual specific situation. We're talking about hypothetical scenarios and discussing how things might go down so you can be better educated. The first scenario comes from Reddit. I'm terrified right now. I naively let a CPS worker come into my house and had an interview with them as well as with my children. They received a call stating that I, the father, had been yelling profanities at my wife and children. At first glance, this seems like a crazy reason for CPS to come to somebody's house and try to interview them. Nobody should yell at their spouse and their kids. But is that criminal conduct that should involve the government? No. But why did this guy let CPS in his house in the first place? This, of course, was false, and knowing this, I let the woman in order to show my innocence. Hold the phone. Proving your innocence is probably the worst reason to let the cops, or the child cops in this case, into your house in the first place. We don't prove our innocence in America. The government has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that we broke the law. Remember, CPS can lie to you just like the police can. This CPS agent could have made up a completely fake story that they know is fake to bait you into inviting them in to try to prove your innocence so they can get a better look at the home and talk to the children. All the while, they could be collecting evidence against you for a serious complaint, such as actual child abuse or domestic violence. Unfortunately, I didn't see any follow-up from the OP, so we don't know exactly what happened. But hopefully, given the nature of the discussion on Reddit, nothing serious happened to him or his family. This brings us to the first rule of dealing with CPS. Treat them like cops. And you know what we do for cops? Don't talk to the police. You have no obligation to talk to CPS or to allow them into your house without a warrant. If they come knocking regarding complaints about your children or your behavior, I'd ask for their contact information and tell them that you'll be in touch with your attorney ASAP. Then hire a lawyer. And I know some of you out there are thinking that us attorneys are just scam artists and we're just trying to make money off of you. But wait until CPS comes knocking on your door trying to take your children away. Then you might see the value of having an expert lawyer on your side, somebody who focuses on CPS defense cases. To be clear, we focus on DUI and serious traffic cases, but dealing with CPS is very similar to dealing with the police in any other encounter in life, and so these rules definitely apply. Unfortunately, CPS has broad authority to investigate claims about your children. In Virginia, CPS has the statutory right to interview your children without you being present and without you even knowing about the interview. That's nuts. But what if CPS knocks and asks about your neighbor's kids? This actually happened. So this is a first for me. Someone knocks on my door yesterday. Usually it's some BS solar salesman and I tell them to F off. But this younger than me woman introduces herself as Susie from CPS. I'd like to ask you some questions regarding a neighbor. She asks if the kids ever seem unkempt, if we've seen bruising or marks. No to both. Asks if we've heard any screaming or yelling. We have. They're kids. They play outside. Goes deeper and asks if it's just playing or fighting. Again, yes, they're kids. Asks if we've ever seen any alcohol use. We have. They used to host family get-togethers. A little too loud with music, but nothing concerning. The OP later says the neighbors seem like good kids with a single mom who works from home. Well, if it was me and CPS was asking about children not my own and not in my care, who I knew to be happy and healthy, I would probably tell them that to try to end the investigation. I would not want to answer any questions about screaming, yelling, fighting, or alcohol use, since any affirmative answer to those questions are likely to hurt good parents. We should never cover for actual child abuse. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not suggesting that, and you certainly can't lie to CPS because you might could be charged with obstruction of justice if you're lying. But you don't have to answer every question that's posed to you, and you could tell the CPS agent that you know the kids are happy and healthy and you don't want to answer any other questions. Always be aware that cops and CPS cops will use seemingly innocuous answers that bolster their view of what the case should be. Sometimes officers don't necessarily follow the actual facts. They have a theory of what they think happened, and they look for facts to try to fit their theory and bolster what they're claiming. That's the danger in talking with the police and answering questions about yelling or screaming. They're kids. Kids scream and yell periodically. Now, if you hear bloody murder cries, that's a different story, obviously. But what if CPS doesn't knock on your door? What if they text you instead? Check out this text that somebody actually received. Hi, so-and-so. My name is Michelle Smith. I work for CPS. I received some allegations. Could you please call me? Thank you. Should you reply? Of course not. See rule number 1. Violating rule number 1 and talking with CPS about your own kids or kids that are in your care or custody is the biggest mistake people make in these cases. You should not talk with CPS or the cops without your lawyer present. But if they're persistent, the only reply that would make any sense in a situation like this is to ask for proof that the person is actually a CPS agent. I would not call them, and I would not provide any of your personal information. A simple reply to ask them to verify that they are who they say they are would be sufficient. Keep in mind that this could be a CPS agent, and it frankly could just be some kind of scammer trying to get some personal information from you to do some kind of identity theft thing. You gotta be careful these days when somebody texts you out of the blue, no matter who they claim that they are. If the person provides proof that they are a CPS agent, you should immediately contact a lawyer who focuses on CPS defense cases and have them reach out to the agent on your behalf to find out what's going on and what is the nature of the complaint. Because this could also be some elaborate texting scam. You should never provide any personal information of yours or anything about your children, even their names, to some random person who texts you. It doesn't matter if they claim they're from CPS, the IRS, or a Saudi prince trying to give you your inheritance of gold bars. Always remember rule number 1 from this channel. Don't talk to the police. Don't talk to CPS. Lawyer up and protect your family. What if you didn't open the door for CPS, but somebody else let them in? Check out this next video to see how to eject the cops or CPS from your house.